Hello everyone, this is Kabir Aditya, back with the post-match analysis videos. I was actually traveling. I was not in my home. Right now I'm back in Baku, Azerbaijan. I've been traveling since the past 6 months for work and personal reasons. So my videos and everything were very inconsistent. Because IPL is going on, I'm going to be making post-match analysis video every day. But before that, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Also do follow me on Instagram where I post amazing entertaining reels and score predictions and match predictions just before the match. So I had predicted already for this match and then we'll go on to the match analysis. I do that every day. So tomorrow morning, I've already put the prediction for the RCB versus DC match, and let's get on with the video. Gujarat Titans versus Rajasthan Royals, a great match at Ahmedabad. So my predictions were, because it's an Ahmedabad pitch, the person who will win the toss would most likely want to chase first because of the G factor, and it's easy to chase, and it's usually a sluggish wicket. Where actually the World Cup final happened was Ahmedabad. So in Ahmedabad, people usually win the toss and bowl first, and I had predicted a score about 180 to 190. I think Rajasthan had a more firepower in the batting. Gujarat's batting suits the sluggish wickets more. They like to take their time. They can accelerate much later on. Rajasthan's batting is most about just see the ball, hit the ball. So I thought that the wicket, as I had expected, would suit Gujarat's batting more, so maybe they had an advantage. But again, Rajasthan had some good spinners. They were also in good form now. So overall, I thought Rajasthan would be the most tough opponent for Gujarat, but Gujarat would eventually win. Now what happened? Let's get on to the post-match analysis. The toss. I think the toss was very important during the reading the pitch. Sanju Samson won the toss and they decided to bowl first, as I'd expected about Ahmedabad. But this is not a black soil wicket where the ball actually swings, seams and spins and bounces. This is actually a red soil wicket, which is actually much decent for batters. So it was going to be a 200 plus total. What Sanju should have done is batted first, post up about a 230 total. They have the firepower. When they bat freely, they bat very freely, and they could have scored a high score and put GT's batting under pressure. But I think this is where Sanju misread the pitch. And talking about the pitch, like I said, this was the red soil pitch. Now let me give you a backstory about that India versus Australia World Cup final. I don't remember what soil pitch it was, but it was actually a typical Ahmedabad sluggish wicket. My guess is it was a black soil pitch, and Pat Cummins actually had no clue how the pitch would behave. So he took photos not for himself, but to send it to his friend Nathan Lyon, who used to be a pitch curator. He sent him the photos and asked what the pitch would do, and that is when he decided his plans. Nathan Lyon helps him in the BGT, in the Ashes and everywhere else. When Pat Cummins said, I don't know how to read the pitch, he actually doesn't know how to read the pitch. Because even last year in Hyderabad, it was Shahbaz Ahmed helping him reading the pitch, and because now he doesn't have any resources to use or ask someone what the pitch would behave, you can see the condition of the team right now. So that was a small backstory about reading the pitch. And I think Sanju Samson also made a mistake here by choosing to field first. Chasing by Rajasthan has always not been their forte. They should have gone for bat first. And their bowling plans went a little bizarre because their spinners were ineffective. Hasranga was not there. I believe Riyan Parag and Nitish Rana should have bowled more. But anyways, toss won. Rajasthan elected to bowl first. Now the team selection, like I said, Hasranga was not there. Farooqi was back. Maybe his cutters would have helped. Actually, the reality is Rajasthan lacks depth in their squad. They didn't have any other option to replace Hasranga. What they could have done is instead bowled with Nitish Rana and Riyan Parag a bit more to make up for those spin overs, because Nitish Rana and Riyan Parag are not just part-time bowlers. They bowl regularly in domestic and bowl quite decently. Gujarat went with the same team, except they didn't have Washington Sundar. They went with I think Arshad Khan, which was a decent choice as well. Now we've also talked about the team selection. Now let's get on to the key battles. I think Jofra Archer versus the openers, Sai Sudarshan and Shubman Gill, was going to be a cracker of a battle, because Sai Sudarshan has not faced a 145, 150 plus bowler in his domestic circuit. He hasn't debuted for India yet, so he hasn't played an international, so he probably hasn't faced that fast of a bowler who swings both ways. So I thought that would be a very interesting battle for a technically sound batsman like Sai Sudarshan. Shubman Gill, because he has a weakness of that in-swing delivery where he usually gets into LBW or bowled. We saw him in the Champions Trophy, we saw him in the WTC final, we even saw him in the World Cup a bit. That is his weakness, and guess how he got out? Exactly that way. Archer made sure he got out early, but again, Rajasthan could not capitalize on that because Jos Buttler, who came in at number 3, has a good record against Jofra Archer. Sanju Samson didn't bowl Jofra Archer's third over. In fact, he should have been brave and gone for it, because Archer was getting into his peak now. He's bowling 150, he's bowling good line and lengths, he's swinging both ways. I think Buttler would have had difficulties facing him this time. But as they say, captaincy matters, and Sai Sudarshan and Jos Buttler capitalized. The good thing about Gujarat's batsmen is the first 3 deliveries of an over, they always ensure they take a single, rotate the strike, make sure they get 3 to 4 runs over. And then in the last 3 balls, they try to look for a boundary because they know sometimes you're not going to hit a boundary right away. So they make sure they get a boundary in those 3 balls. So there's less pressure for the batsmen. And that's how they maintain the 8 to 10 runs and over run rate. Which is why during sluggish wickets, their batting suits very well. If this was a flatter wicket or a stronger team like RCB or DC, I think this below par total would have been easily chased by the other team. So overall, I still think the total of 218 runs target was 10 to 15 runs below par for this pitch. But again, Rajasthan just saw that it was above 200 score and they panicked. They're usually not good at chase and they panicked just by looking at the score, not realizing the fact that the pitch was a 230, 240 pitch. It was a different pitch. It was great for the batters and was coming onto the bat. And because of that panic, they just gave away the wickets. And Gujarat Titans stuck to their plan. I mean, they come up with a plan for each and every single batsman by each and every single bowler. They don't bowl just for the sake of it. They don't come onto the field just for the sake of it. They come with a plan. And the plans have been working. Rajasthan fell right in the trap. So kudos to Gujarat Titans. They've been playing very well. They were always the underdog teams for me. People underrated them so much before the IPL, but I knew they had that firepower. It was only Shubman Gill's captaincy, I think, that would make the difference, whether they would be in the top 4 or the bottom 4. And you can see the difference now. That's why Shubman Gill is the vice captain of India in the ODIs. And if you look at the final total, around 150, 160 in 16 overs around, or 17 overs, that was Rajasthan, but for 8 wickets. So if they had not panicked at the beginning and just saved their wickets, chasing this score was not a big total on this pitch. The ball was genuinely coming nicely onto the bat, but they just fell into the trap. And I'll talk about what trap it was and the turning point now. Turning point was Jaiswal's wicket itself. A lot of people will tell me Sanju Samson's wicket, but I think the match was done just by how Jaiswal batted. Siraj had been bowling right on the outside off stump to his offside to Jaiswal, and there was near the third man, there was a guy. It was the shorter boundary, but they stuck to their plans. Usually Siraj bowls stump to stump this season, but the way Siraj kept bowling him out like a test match bowling, kept it. Jaiswal got a couple of boundaries, but right away he gave a catch. Nitish Rana fell under the same trap. Jaiswal panicked. If he just waited 1 or 2 overs, Gujarat would have shifted because runs were coming easily, and they would have panicked as well when there's no wicket and a good power play. They would have been forced to change that plan. There was not much into the pitch, but because Rajasthan just fell under the pressure of just the scoreboard pressure of 200 and without actually reading the pitch, they just gave away the wickets very, very easily. I mean, it's like the fielder didn't even have to move. He just had to put his hands up and the ball was in his hands. What a pathetic batting display by Rajasthan. The way Jaiswal fell, the rest of the batters were even more under pressure. They were panicking even more. Riyan Parag was looking in good touch. If he had stayed for more, I think the scoreboard would have been different. He was the only one who looked calm and composed. I'm sure if this was a team like RCB or DC or Punjab, Gujarat would have been under pressure with this slightly below par total. I guarantee you that. It was only a team like Rajasthan where even this below par total, they couldn't chase it just for the sake of that. It was 200 runs. So that is my analysis of the toss, the squad selection, the pitch, and the turning point. And my man of the match was, of course, Sai Sudarshan. They know their batting lineup is quite thin in the middle order, in the lower middle order. They don't have much power hitters. So he made sure he took his time, he settled down, and that's when he started going big. There was not a single weakness for Sai Sudarshan. The only trouble he had was probably facing Jofra Archer's pace, and you could tell that. But again, it was only Jofra Archer and the rest of the bowlers were just easy pickings for him. What a technically gifted batsman. Beautiful batting. I thought Rajasthan would have fought better even without Hasranga, but sadly not. So what do you think about the match? Let me know in the comment section below. Tomorrow's match is RCB versus DC. So a little preview I'm going to give you over here. But the prediction that I made is that RCB has, well, what home advantage? I can't even say that. It's so difficult to predict in this because both of them are very well balanced. Only edge RCB has is not the stadium, but the fact that they have gone through, they have the momentum. They've coming out of a Mumbai win, Chennai win. They lost against Gujarat at home, but I think they beat KKR as well. They beat Chennai at Chennai. They beat KKR in Kolkata. They beat Mumbai at Wankhede. So they're feeling very confident, and it was a tough game that they've been through. The problem with DC is they've only had 3 games while the rest of the teams have had 4 or 5 games. So they have probably had a longer break than usual, and it breaks the rhythm, it breaks the momentum. And going on to an away game like Chinnaswamy, it can be intimidating when all the fans are just a Virat Kohli army, like RCB and army. That is the only thing I think RCB has an advantage, because They have the momentum. DC is coming after a long break. They could be a little rusty. But anyways, it's going to be fireworks. I think around, I would say 190, 200. It's not going to be a bigger total because they had a green wicket last time. It's going to be a very thrilling match. But I think RCB has an edge and I think RCB will win. What do you guys think? Let me in the comment section below. For RCB versus DC, I'm going to be doing the post-match analysis tomorrow. So do not forget to subscribe my channel, like this video, share this with everyone, every cricket fan, every IPL fan, and do follow me on Instagram because that's where I post my predictions on my Instagram story and lots of other stuff. But for now, it's the IPL and there's going to be more daily content. And thank you for watching, guys. Take care. Goodbye.